could go down the line of, this system, this setup, this trap, this, that. I'm not even, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's his life, it ain't fair.
Yeah.
I look at it like this. My starting point, our starting point, was down the projects.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the starting point for my kids. They don't know what that life is. They don't know about knocking on the door, asking Miss Brenda for sugar, or not having no food. Remember, we used to fucking get flour and bake flour, make biscuits. Remember not having no air conditioner, sleeping on the roof down the projects.
I remember.
Our kids will not experience that. So it is what it is. But that's because of the choices we made.
Absolutely.
We had to go through the fire though, because our circumstances was what they was. We went through that fire. We came out. We survived. We're here now, regardless of all the time you did in prison.
Right.
Regardless of all that, we're here now. And it's like, it's damage control. Mm-hmm. It's triage. Bringing them in there, give me CCs of this, that, pit pressure in the wound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, they get him upstairs he on the 5th floor. How you doing, doctor? He's stable.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But being products of that, right? Being products of that. Did we in turn, in some shape, form, or fashion, traumatize our own kids? Because think about it. We just keep passing this trauma. I'm using trauma because, but we inherited the trauma, and now we are giving it to our kids. And not just that, think about this. Like, even when we start families, we're not really starting families. They are really oops babies.
Absolutely.
It just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and this is how the majority of us are starting families. This is how the majority of us bringing kids in this world that didn't ask to be here, right? And then they just get thrown in the mix of bullshit. You going to prison, me going to prison, not having an education, GEDs, this,
finance,
yeah, exactly. And now, but what do we do? How do we change that? I mean, of course we know the answer, but how do we change that? Like, what do we do now that, you can't untoast the bread?
Now that, when we get to a certain point, it's like, as men or women, right, you got to grow the fuck up and start looking at things for what they are and not, a fantasy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to take the steps. You got to start setting goals and really like communicating like outside of your own social circles, like and seek like hitting the gym, working out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Releasing those pressures, those tensions that hold you back from really being creative, of setting goals for yourself that make you who you really are.
Because a lot of us don't ever even get to live out our full potential.
Absolutely.
Like, and it's people, we could go down the line of, this system, this setup, this trap, this, that. I'm not even, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's his life, it ain't fair.
Yeah.
I look at it like this. Our starting point was down the projects.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the starting point for my kids. They don't know what that life is. They don't know about knocking on the door, asking Miss Brenda for sugar, or not having no food. Remember, we used to fucking get flour and bake flour, make biscuits. Remember not having no air conditioner, sleeping on the roof down the projects.
I remember.
Our kids will not experience that. So it is what it is. But that's because of the choices we made.
Absolutely.
We had to go through the fire though, because our circumstances was what they was. We went through that fire and we came out. We survived. We're here now, regardless of all the time you did in prison.
Right.
Regardless of all that, we're here now. And it's like, it's damage control. It's triage. Bringing them in there, give me CCs of this, that, pit pressure in the wound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, they get him upstairs he on the 5th floor. How you doing, doctor? He's stable.
Yeah. We
try. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And wow. I'm sorry, yo. I was just there on that roof, yo.
Yeah, man.
I was just there on that roof, yo.
It was some days and some nights, man.
Yeah, I was just there, yo. Like, wow.
it's crazy, right? Like when we look back and we see where we at today, right? And how we have really, start living life, versus, still stuck in the past or stuck in that box.
It's hard. I see it.
It's like
with guys who grew up with.
It's like, man, wow.
Mm-hmm.
We are the same too.
Yeah.
That, everybody. We was the terrorists. And now look at us now. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
I like.
People would never know.
People would never know. And I really like. I really love the fact of who we are becoming.
Yeah.
Versus our humble beginnings, where we came from. You feel me? All that brought us to this point right now, where we at today. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, if I still sit back and I live in the past, you feel me? How can I ever achieve or start living life to my full potential? Mm-hmm. Or still just sitting in that cage, in a prison of my mind. You feel me? Because that's what it really be. It's like, when we get back to the mental health situations, like a prison of your mind, you gotta find your peace. Mm-hmm. Whether it be, but it gotta be the right kind of peace, the positivity, not all that substance and trying to numb,
but that's
and curve and heal the wound. But you gotta get within deep inside yourself and really like face reality. Look at your situation and be real.
You touched on something, the substance, right?
Yeah.
You know how they used to say, there's a liquor store in every corner.
Facts.
It is. Remember, we'd be out there, we 13 years old, 14 years old, paying somebody to get us a 40 or 80.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, then it was fun. Mm-hmm. But it became a thing. It became a coping thing. Yeah. But it didn't start like that. It did. Because it was the things that was around us.
Right.
And
that environment.
Yeah, but now as adults, a lot of us bring that into our adulthood and we never shake it. Right. We never change it. And we gotta find new ways to cope. And that's where you get back to the mental health. Because a lot of people don't, wrong. When you say mental, you think straight jacket, you think they coming in there, got your arms tied like this, throwing you in a padded room. No.
It's like a false pretense, you know what I'm saying? When you think of it, you know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, like, it gotta be like a starting point, a middle point, then a discharging point. You feel me? Mm-hmm. This ain't something that you need to be like dependent on to always have to talk to somebody else to deal with your problems. You feel me? Like sometimes, man, you gotta get within that self, man.
Yeah, and you gotta deal. Yeah,
and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Get inside yourself. Like